A few minutes prior to the hearing, Soo-jin calls Sang-won to let him know everything is ready for the Whirlwind Episode 9 premiere. They are prepared with civil organizations and the necessary documentation. She gives him exact instructions on what to say while taking the stand. She gives him instructions to explain that Dong-ho approached him on the fatal night of November 17th, upset about being arrested the following day. Sang-won makes an impassioned speech on how Dong-ho came to see President Jang Tu-jun and ask for forgiveness. Sang-won, however, claims that President Jang Tu-jun turned him down for an audience. Confronted with an impasse, Dong-ho changed his strategy and told Sang-won that he would install President Jang Tu-jun and ensure that South Korea had a new leader by the following day. Sadly, Soo-jin had already dug her teeth into the National Assembly members, despite Yoon-suk's best efforts to utilize her power to keep them from being influenced by Sang-won's fraudulent testimony. Dong-ho challenges Sang-won's testimony in a news conference, but it just helps him to further incriminate himself. Sang-won presents proof that Dong-ho spent the evening of November 18th at the Blue House. Furthermore, he clarifies that he was not there at the Blue House when the president lost consciousness. He claims that Soo-jin and he have always been friends and that it was she who persuaded him to reveal the truth. Dong-ho digs himself a bigger hole the more he disputes Sang-won's assertion. After seeing the drama with fascination, Soo-jin determines it's time to get in touch with Sang-cheon and ask him to propose Dong-ho's impeachment. She also plans demonstrations outside the Blue House to demand Dong-ho's impeachment. She also calls Young-won to free Jang-suk and threatens Chairman Park. When Jang-suk sees Dong-ho in the Blue House upon his parole, he assures him that he will persevere. Jang-suk knows what ought to happen, while being conflicted between his friendship with Dong-ho and his responsibility as a prosecutor. Dong-ho, meantime, believes that Jang-suk will continue to be a man of honor. All he asks is that he bring Soo-jin down with him. Jang-suk acknowledges at the hearing that he is unsure of what actually occurred on November 18th. He effectively puts one more nail in Dong-ho's coffin, as Soo-jin had anticipated. She is ecstatic that Dong-ho's lone friend has defeated him. Dong-ho meets Yannick as things heat up and records the exchange. He gives Yannick half of his authority in the meeting in exchange for getting Soo-jin to concede. The National Assembly approves the resolution to impeach Dong-ho while they are debating, and Soo-jin begins to count her eggs in her capacity as acting president. Dong-ho threatens Yannick, who is apprehensive, by saying that Soo-jin would band together with Sang-won and pursue them. Yannick becomes sufficiently inspired to assist Dong-ho and overturn his impeachment after learning of and receiving the recording of Dong-ho vowing to give him half his power. Conversely, Soo-jin publicly approaches Yannick at Sang-won's request. As a warning to Yannick, she vows in a news conference to deal with dishonest chaebols. She then schedules a meeting with the cabinet members and the former First Lady in the Blue House, behind Yoon-suk. But when Yannick reaches Hyun-soo, he persuades her to tell lies in order to shield Dong-ho and preserve himself. On the tragic night of November 18th, the former First Lady publicly declares that Dong-ho had come to visit him and not President Jang Tu-jun. She essentially absolves him of all charges and begs the followers of President Jang Tu-jun to give Dong-ho another chance. Soo-jin is shocked that this occurs at the occasion when she was hoping to receive President Jang Tu-jun's blessing from beyond the grave. But there is still hope because there is still one more impeachment hearing scheduled. The justices of the Constitutional Court of Korea will have to cast a vote this time, but like the general population, the majority of them are undecided and unsure of what to think. Soo-jin and Dong-ho both think there's time to convince them. They need 2 more justices to prevail, but she already knows that 4 of the 9 justices are on their corner. Finding dirt on the justices swiftly, she, Mang Il, and Pilgyu use it as leverage to get them to vote against Dong-ho. Yannick also uses the ammunition in his gun to force the justices